Hello, I'm Sarah from Rainy Day Crafting. Okay, today we're going to do a few bits and pieces. I want to try and keep it to 15 minutes, but that might go over because obviously I do this live all in one go as such. So what I'm looking at today are these. This is you get them actually from Craft Stash, which I've only recently found in the last sort of 6 months or so, but I'm right impressed with them. They obviously do all different brands. These I think actually are their own sort of make as such, but anyway, they're apple blossom. So I've got a few that I've bought, but I'm showing you these, but today I'm going to use this one. Okay, they come in sort of sets of two, which consists of dies. If I show you, they consist of dies and stamps. So if people sort of now new to this thinking dies, stamps, what are you chatting about? Okay, because I want to sort of take it very much back to the basics for people if you haven't done anything like this before. So in here, can you see this one? This is literally your stamps. I've actually took this one out because I've got it ready to now use to show you. You're my sunshine. There's a flower, which that flower will match that one. So if you want a sort of stamp, and they cut out differently to put on top. With love, happy birthday, etc. Okay, so there's a few things on there. So that's that, which I should be showing you then. In the packaging, you actually get 6 pieces, and that consists of this die, which will cut out your little card, okay, sort of like, you know, pretty edged card, and it's obviously got it's all, I don't know how well you can see, it's very sort of sharp around there, which obviously cuts, and then this one's will just give the indent, which will give the crease. Okay, so that's that. Then it comes with quite a nice big die. So look what else we've got. Got another one, which, and then there's one just on its own, so you can just have, because sometimes I think cards look quite nice with not too much on, but then I tend to often say that, don't I? So there's that, and then there's your sentiment that comes with this, which this is the little plaque, I suppose you'd call it, that you can put on the base, and then you cut this out in a same colour, different colour, and that does look quite nice. And I've obviously already tried this, and it cuts out quite delicately, but beautiful. So with no ado, let's go. So first of all, I'm going to cut out the card. So I'm going to be using this. So I'll just put all these out the way so I know what I'm doing. So we're using this, and the card I'm using today, this is quite premium card, okay? It actually comes from Hobbycraft. Packs of, I think, yeah, 100. I think that was quite, I often buy things when they're on special offers or a couple of quid off and things. But anyway, very good card. It's actually 300 grams, which is pretty thick, okay? So what I'm going to do is load that up into my Big Shot. So I'll put that into view. Now with this, where I did the other day with the teddy bears, I only used like the 2 plates and the Sizzix, the Sizzix Bigs, yeah? Here, when you're doing dies and things, you need all the plates in, okay? It all sort of tells you on there. This is the Big Shot Plus, which is like A4 size, if you sort of want to work out. So put your card on there, pop that on the top. Sometimes I put a bit of card in to sort of, because your plates do get quite marked. It's just one of those things. Make sometimes funny noises, but don't you worry about that, because that's just how it is. Woo! See, it gets under a bit of pressure. Bit of a sort of like a great big rolling pin, really, isn't it? Anyway, let's pop that out of the way. I take this off here. Can you see how easily that's cut out? Okay, because these are quite thin. So there we have the card. Here we go, card in the making. Oh, just to say, all these scraps, I tend to sort of then cut that off there and keep that there because don't throw them away. There's, you know, lots of good card there. But all the sort of strips, I actually keep like a jar with strips and things in. Can you see? And put them in there because we'll be doing with something of that at a later date. Okay, there's always something for all these scraps. Okay, so that's that. Move this out the way. So we've got a nice clear workspace. Right, so now what we're going to do, that can be out the way too. So here's your card. So literally you can fold that over like that. I have got, she says, one of those. I'm not going to be able to find it now. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Everything's normally at hand. Very, very good. So it just sort of really gives that nice, yep, so nice little card. Okay, not over big. So what we're then going to do, the stamping, this is a stamping block. Okay, I've already put them on there. So you literally, when you peel them off the backing where they're here, and initially when you buy them new, or even if you buy them second hand, it's always worth cleaning over with like a baby wipe or something, because sometimes they have like this residue on there when they're sort of first made. So that's that ready. But as you can see, it's a bit darker colour because I've already used it, because I do this in stages a little bit, don't I? So I think this is one of the, well, I wouldn't say one of the best. This is VersaFine, which is a very fine pigment ink for fine details. Okay, so basically if you've got something that's got fine details, great, but even if it's not, this is the one, rather than buy lots of different ones. So VersaFine Fine. Okay, so it's a pad, as you can see, and you just literally like that. I've got another piece of paper, that same sort of, well, I don't know, this might be just regular, which I'm putting in here. I think I should have had another piece of foam or something go in there, because I don't seem to have found it. So anyway, by putting it in here, if it doesn't stamp correctly, basically you can do it again. Yeah, where if you just do it ad lib, you don't have to have one, obviously. Right, there we go. And then you just press it down. Yep. Give it some nice even pressure. Then fingers crossed. Oh, that's exactly what I was saying, how sometimes it hasn't quite done. So if you'd never be able to line that up again normally. So just, there we go. Hopefully I'll do it this time. Always when it's on camera. It might be actually that in the way, potentially. Yeah, it might have been actually. Okay, so that's leaving, not bad, that ink on there. So let's put that out of the way. Oh, it's sneezing. Oh, excuse me. So then what we're going to do, I always put a bit of paper down. We're going to be doing some embossing, okay? And so you've got the ink down there, which is, if you do it sort of quite quickly, is quite wet, you know, sticky enough. The embossing powder I'm using is actually, it's the Wow, it's a big one. It's super fine, purely because if you use a super fine, that will do, again, all sort of intricate stuff. Okay, so you just literally, whoops, pop this on here. Tell you what I did forget to say, there's a little paddy thing that you use on the piece of paper to make sure there's sort of no sort of grease or anything on there, which I forgot to do, but I'll show you, I'm sure, on another clip at some point. So there, that's stuck on there. Don't know how well you can see that. Let's put this out of the way. And then you use a heat gun. And the heat gun, one I've got earlier, I'm trying to be as organised as I can. That's a heat tool. And you just, this is where the magic happens. I turn it on a little bit noisy just for a second. Just let it warm up just a little bit. And then you'll see it's almost like magic. You know, it needs to just be, here we go. Can you see? It's literally, you just do that all along. It doesn't take very long at all. Can you sort of see how I'll come this end and I'll join it stuff. Sometimes I'll use a peg or something, because it can get quite hot, as you can imagine. Obviously, clue in the name, it's a heat gun. There we go. sometimes it's best to sort of just do it at an angle. And there we have it. I don't know how well you can see that, but if I try and tip it, it's got quite a shine on it. Okay, so it gives it an edge. So if you are now going to paint this, maybe, or do it with stamps, whatever, because that might still be a little bit sort of warm, potentially wet. There's I'm going to show you one I've done earlier, she said. Okay, so I've got a couple here. So here's one I've done earlier. Let me just move this out of the way, because that definitely see, even though I put paper down, you still get the powder go everywhere. So what I've then got here, and I'm going to I'll leave it on there because I'm going to do too bad. I'm now going to colour these. Okay, so there's a few ways you can do it. You can crayon, you can felt tip, you can these oxides, which I really like. So I'm using these three on this, which is the ground espresso, which will be the sort of browny bit in the middle of the sunflower. Then there's the yellow going to go there for the leaves, the petals. Okay, so let me show you. I'm not going to sort of literally do the whole thing because that all takes time, and my keenness of this is to be, I'm using these finger daubers here. My keenness for this is to not be massive videos, because I want to sort of keep your interest. Now, and then can you see, just literally each of the, you can do this two ways. You can do this like this now, and cut it out. Because if you do it like this way, it doesn't matter if you go over the edges, because you'll be cutting it out with the die, okay? So, for example, that would be going literally that way, okay? So, and that would cut it all out. So, that's that. If I just now just start to show you. So, that's ground espresso. So I've got a whole load of new of these that my husband bought me for my birthday, which was back in April. I haven't got around to labeling and putting them where they need to go. Anyway, so here, like where I was saying, you don't have to be that precision, because you can literally, yeah, can you see? But I don't know how much you can see. If you were now doing this with like the watercolors, or because of the stamping and this VersaFine ink, when it's then got the embossing powder on it, almost like gives it an edge. So it's almost like you don't go over the edges there. Obviously I have with these because these are finger daubers. So there we go. So rather than do the whole thing, I'm going to be showing you, she says, one I did earlier. Okay, which I could show you now how to cut this out, but I mean, basically, because I've sort of shown you my scissors cutting out the original envelope, you literally would just put that back in over there in your machine between all the levels. Just sometimes put a little bit of tape down so it doesn't move, wind it through, and it literally would come out like this. Okay, which again, you could then use your colors, like I say, felt tips, crayons. These distress oxides I think are lovely, because they're obviously very good for blending, which is our main thing, or blend well. But if you then put some on an acrylic, I won't explain about that now, you can do like watercolors with them, which are very effective. And when they dry up, they almost sort of dry up a bit chalky. Here's another one I done literally by just I didn't bother to do the embossing, you know, with the superfine, the black. I just literally cut it out like that. So there's a lot of different effects. And this is another one, I'm just going to show you them all, with it just cut out. Okay, so there's no colouring with that at all, which white on white is quite lovely. So for example, if I show you this, like on the card, that is really quite lovely on its own, isn't it? Just with the sentiment, and that's really lovely. So if I show you as well all the different ways, you know, you wouldn't think how many different ways it can look so different. So here's another one. Yep, this again, you know, if you wanted, you could just have black and white, and then your sentiment. So lots of different ideas. Oh, and one I done earlier here was with a yellow card. I'm not sure if that yellow totally sort of works together, that card with those, but that's another one. So lots of different ideas. So what we now need to do is literally, let's stick this one on to the card. Okay, no, I think we'll do this one. So how do we stick this? Just with some regular glue. I use PVA actually most of the time in these little bottles. Brilliant. So it's one of those things, yes, you want enough, but you do not want too much. So here we go. It's just a bit sort of squiggles all over the place. One of my sort of super tips for this really though is when you've then done this, let it dry. This is why I've as I'm doing these videos, I'm trying to do sort of get ahead and sort of do them in various stages to show you purely so you sort of get to see it. Because I found one of my biggest tips is when I first started, you know, I was gluing, I was sticking, I was embossing, so the heat gun, and you found you ended up with a sticky mess, and dare I say, most things went in the bin. Although even if you muck up, you usually find you can rectify. So there we go. Practically card done. Just move these out the way. Like I say, this one, I'm just going to stick that one on there because I might just leave that white on white because I think it's rather lovely anyway. Sunflowers, you know, are quite sort of spiritual. So I'll go into that another time because my other job, well, this isn't a job, this is a glorified hobby, which I actually love. I work as a psychic. So anyway, sunflowers are very spiritual. But this white on white is, let's make sure I've got it the right way around. Yeah, I think so. It's really nice how this cuts. But I would then probably put something heavy on there so they dry really well. Okay, so there's a couple. Let's just move these out the way. And the last little bit, I don't know what my time's like, because I want to be that I'm doing it in that sort of time. But let me now just, I had got one earlier on a block. Now this one obviously comes out of there. There was happy birthday, and there was flowers for a friend. Do you know what I thought? I've got lots of happy birthday cards and things. You've obviously got You're My Sunshine with love, just sometimes a little sentiment. Even the little one with love is quite lovely too. So I might, if I now have time, do that as well. So like I say, this is the apple blossom set. So here we go. So if I was going to put that one on there, I think I'm going to try and risk it. Which would probably, that would have been upside down. That would have been a, yeah. So I hope I do it all in one go, because if not I might muck it up. Which when you stamp with this, you can literally just do the stamp. So I can't speak and concentrate at the same time. Flowers for a friend. Okay. And then should we do another one on there? Might not be so lucky, might I? So if I just take that off there, I have got then all about trying to get that. See, sometimes the black and white is quite. Right, and with love to that one. So I might just show you if I'm quick with this. Don't want to do too much because there's ever so many techniques we can add to this as well, but I don't want to, anyone who's new, I don't want to overwhelm. And if you already do this lots, it's just reminding you some of the things you can do. See what I mean? But it makes a bit of a mess. So let me just, quick noise for a minute. Load into the cards slightly, and there you have it. So a couple of cards. I tend to put my powder into one of these boxes. I think it's an old Tupperware. That shows my age, doesn't it? But any bits, if you put stuff, paper down, you then catch them all. And you know what, the big super fine wow embossing powder, I have had ages and ages. I reckon 2 or 3 years, you know, and it doesn't use that much. Obviously, if it doesn't do as well, you can redo it. So anyway, there's a couple of cards. I hope you like them. That one's just slightly bled for some reason into the card, and I don't know why. But anyway, so there's a couple of cards. And if I was to then show you this one on here, which hasn't been stuck yet, quite different effects. Okay, anyway, thank you for joining me. Till the next time, have a great day, and see you soon. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, so then every time I release one, you'll know when the video's out. Okay, so thank you very much. Take care.